This is BFBS, the Forces Station. I'm Joe Carden. Hello. Mr. Nathan Sykes is in the building. Yes,
Hello.
please.
Hello.
Mate, welcome to BFBS. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. This is so exciting.
Well, thank you for coming in. We've got a lot to talk about. It's a busy one for you this year. You've got new album on the way. You've got new music for what's the best part of the decade. We'll get onto all of that new stuff in a bit, if you're all right with it, though.
Of course.
We can't have you in and not talk about it. Let's go back to the early days, to the Wanted days.
Yes.
What's it like sitting here in 2025, knowing that you are kind of part of one of the biggest boy bands of a generation? Do you still kind of pinch yourself?
It makes me feel old, if I'm honest. I think it's really nice. I think we had a really sweet moment.
Yeah.
Very much paved the way by JLS, and then One Direction came along and ended both of us really. And yeah, so it was a privilege, kind of putting our own little spin on it and having a lot of fun as well.
And, you know, you joke about feeling old and stuff. You guys were kids when it was really kind of in the thick of it.
Yeah.
Do you think you really grasped at the time how much of a big deal it was?
I didn't grasp how young I was, I think, because I was just going along with it. I was like, yeah, this is fine. But the other guys were 21, which now, looking back, I'm like, oh my God, they were kids, but they felt so old to me because I was 16. So really, I was probably a bit young. You know, it was an experience, and it was like my university.
Do you think it's kind of a perspective thing? I mean, I don't know about you. Even nowadays, I still look at people and go, "I'm not a proper grown up. When's it going to hit me?"
Yeah.
Do you still feel that?
Yes. But I'm getting married soon, so I think that's going to be the moment it hits me of, oh, I need to get my life together.
That's a grown-up commitment,
yeah,
isn't it?
It's a proper like actual commitment. And for someone that's been scared of commitment for a really long time, it feels like a real adult move, which is exciting. But I think it's strange looking back, because I think by the time the band finished the first time round, I was still only 21, and I was looking around being like, okay, what now? Is that my career that's done? like am I finished? Do I go and get like a job? Like, what happens now? So it very much felt like I'd kind of finished my education, but a really good, cool education, I guess.
And did you, like, in all seriousness, did you have that thought of, I need a plan B for if sticking in music post-band isn't going to be something that's an option?
I've always been a big believer in, if you have a plan B, you're screwed. But can I say that?
Yeah, can.
So I've always tried to avoid it. I think what has changed, like the older I've got and the more responsibilities I've got in my life now, is that I'm actually happy to have conversations with people about things, and be like, oh yeah, that's an interesting idea. I'd potentially be open to that, rather than just being like, no, I'm doing my music and that's it. So there's kind of a warmth towards opportunities now, which is a really nice place to be in, because before I was maybe a little bit naive in a sense that everything just surrounds music, and that's the end of that, really.
Do you ever spend any time with kind of younger up and coming artists who are in their teens, their early 20s, like you were?
Yeah.
Would you ever have some sort of advice for them on how to be vulnerable, be open, but also protect yourself at the same time?
Learn to say no.
Yeah.
That's like, I know it sounds like such a simple thing. I found myself in some very, very vulnerable situations, and I was like, this isn't fun, really. Like, I shouldn't be feeling uncomfortable. And the word no feels like a very long way away. But learning that ability really only kind of started within the last few years, where I can be like, no, I'm not really comfortable doing that. I don't really want to do it. So, and that's okay. But yeah, I love working with young artists. I love writing with developing artists. I love helping them find their sound and their identity. That's really exciting, because I think, especially like with music at the moment, we're in a very like a Big Mac and fries world of music. I think where everyone wants everything yesterday, and I think artists can sometimes fall into a little bit of a trap in terms of the labels just looking for a quick hit. But I think it's equally important for an artist to be able to build their career and build their sound and develop properly, which the labels aren't doing as much anymore. So I think it's almost a responsibility of songwriters to help the next generation kind of develop properly.
It's interesting because it feels like at the moment music's very different to how it was when you and the boys were kind of big in the charts as a band. It felt like it really was kind of, it's cheesy, but battle of the boy bands, battle of the girl bands. Yeah. Do you think there is this kind of place in 2025 for traditional girl band, boy band type pop stuff? Are we kind of missing that at the moment?
A little bit. There's obviously like amazing K-pop bands that are kind of your more traditional but still a very modern take on boy bands and girl bands. And they're also fantastically talented as well, which is it makes us look like awful because like all the amazing like routines and the production and things like that, it's like wow. So yeah, I think there's definitely a space, and I think people really warm to it as well. I think especially the younger generation are missing that, but there are some really good boy bands coming up. There's a great one called Absent Mind, and they're fantastic. They're all really talented kids, so it's lovely to see the next generation coming through. Whether we'll get another band as big as One Direction, it remains to be seen. But I suppose it's like back in the day being like, are we going to get a band as big as the Beatles? So like that's how big One Direction, like they were like insanely successful.
Well, it's interesting though, because there would have been points for whichever band you were in at the time, whether it be, you know, your 1Ds, whether it be your Wanteds, whether it be, you know, your Saturdays, your Lawsons, all of those kinds of types. I'm sure you were all looking at each other. Was there ever a moment, and I ain't going to push you for a name, was there ever a moment where you went, oh, do you know what, if I had my time again, I'd have loved to have had a go at being in that band?
Yeah, One Direction.
Would you? Which 1D boy do you think you'd see yourself as? Do you think you'd fit into that mould, or would you bring something kind of different?
I'd be an additional sixth member, and I also wouldn't have a mortgage, which would be cracking. Wouldn't it be lovely? Imagine. I'm convinced there nearly was a moment where I think, had I, like a sliding doors moment, had I chosen a different path, because when I got offered the Wanted, I was also speaking to Sony, because the Wanted was done through Universal. Sony then came in, and they were talking. They were putting together a boy band, and I possibly that could have ended up being if we go down the X Factor route and then that's we're going to put together a boy, that could have been a pathway, but you never know. It's like the red pill, blue pill from. I think on the day where I just decided which deal to take, there were 4 deals on the table, and I was like two bands, 2 solo deals, and I always said I never wanted to be in a boy band. Big into like my jazz music, and I just essentially wanted to be Jamie Cullum.
Nice.
So that's where my full focus was. Something just in my gut was like, go with the band, and I was like, really? I was like having a conversation with my gut, being like, no. Yeah.
What does your gut sound like? Could you do the voice of the gut?
The voice of the gut. Probably like Ian McKellen. Sir.
Okay, interesting. Yeah,
Sir
quite a
Ian
distinguished, wise gut.
Yeah, which makes my normal voice sound stupid. So like when you have a very like intelligent voice going, you're like, oh yeah, I should listen to that voice, and that makes you follow your gut, I guess.
Bless you. Let's move on to kind of the next step of your career, that start of solo stuff. Mid 2010s, band calls it a day, albeit temporarily. I don't know if we knew that at the time. Or what was it like kind of stepping out on your own after having that safety net of the guys around you?
We needed a break from each other, I think, and I think the record label needed a break from us as well. It was at a point where we were really good at I think protecting each other and protecting the brand, and I feel like at the time we were just at war constantly with the label and management. There were so many big personalities, and there were too many, so it was very much too many cooks. And everyone had a different idea of what the band should be, and we were drowning in it. So I think we were all kind of looking for a break, So when that decision was made, it felt like a bit of a relief. So I was like, right, I need to start writing songs. This is what I do. I do music, so I'm not going to stop doing that. And yeah, just got in the studio and started to try and find what my sound would be, which took a minute. And I think looking back on the album, I was so determined to prove to people that I could sing. Because like when you come from a boy band, it's very easy for people to be like, oh, they're not talented and all this sort of stuff. So I wanted to write everything myself, and I wanted to really prove the point that I could sing. Maybe focus on that a little bit too much, looking back. But I think it's kind of part of growing as an artist, and it was an amazing learning curve, especially as a writer. I got to work with some amazing people. I got to write with Babyface, which was just like bonkers, like very much pinch yourself moment. I was like, is this happening? And yeah, we wrote an amazing song together. So those experiences were really special.
And when you say you were kind of finding your own sound, obviously you would have been looking at people around you. Who was kind of the artists you were taking inspiration from? Who did you go, I'd like a little from column A and a little from column B?
I listened to like really old music, so I was listening to like Stevie Wonder, Donny Hathaway, and a lot of like Frank Sinatra and like that kind of
real like kind
era.
of soul and heart to it.
Yeah, and I really love music that means something, and you can hear that. I love an amazing vocal. The more modern music would be like Frank Ocean and obviously Jamie Cullum and people like that. They're like people that can really be influenced by those old soul records, and bring like the brass and woodwind and stuff like that into the into music, because I feel like that was missing a little bit from kind of pop music, I guess, because I think whenever you hear kind of like that big band sound, I think people sometimes use it, or they misuse it, maybe, should we say. So I really wanted to take that seriously and incorporate that into my sound, but still managing to keep it a pop album.
So from that first album then, what tune would you say was the one where you really went, yeah, I think I've nailed it, this is my sound, this is what I would want to represent me?
Over and over again, because it was the breakthrough moment at the end of the album. So Kiss Me Quick came quite early on, that had the big band kind of sound, and then I didn't feel like I had like the moment on the album, and I was sat there listening to it, and I ran it later. I said, I need a trip to LA, and they were like, yeah, of course you do. And I was like, no, I do. I need to. I'm going to go to LA.
Did you put the Ian McKellen voice on to convince them at the time?
You know what's mad? It was like the gut kind of being like, you're not finished. And like the label were like, yeah, this is great. Let's go with this. And I was like, no. And like my gut was like, you're not finished, mate. And I was like, what do you mean I'm not finished? And it was like, love song. And I was like, really? So yeah, then I rang the label. I was like, I need a trip to LA. I'm going to write a love song. And they went, right, okay. And they were like, why LA? I said, because I'm going to write it with Harmony Samuels, who's incredible. He worked a lot over that album. And a writer called Carmen Reese, who works a lot with Craig David, and Major, who is now like a Grammy-nominated amazing artist. I think he's #1 in the gospel chart at the moment. So that was our little team. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to go and write with them. And went there, wrote over and over again, rang the label and said, I'm done, I'm coming home. And they were like, you've been there 2 days. I was like, I'm still jet lagged, I'm coming home. And they were like, right, is the song good? I was like, yeah, it's all right. Yeah, I think that was the breakthrough moment for me, because that has allowed me to connect directly to people using it as their first dances and walking down the aisle to the song. That's really special to me, because it's an honor, because there's so many amazing love songs that people can choose from, and the fact that people are choosing that song is, yeah, it feels, yeah, I'm very, very grateful to everyone, and it really means something to me. If
you're comfortable with it, I know it's a bit of a heavy one, I'd like to take a little break to talk about Tom.
Yeah.
Would that be all right?
Yeah, of course.
So obviously, you know, to fill everyone in, the cancer sadly took Tom in 2022, right? You are right now talking to a military audience. You are talking to people who know what it's like to lose friends, colleagues, brothers.
Yeah.
Which I imagine is that sort of connection that you had with not only Tom Parker, but all the lads in the band.
Yeah.
How did you and the rest of the guys kind of rally around and support each other when the time actually came?
You know what, we just wanted to be there for Tom, and obviously when he rang and said he wanted to tour, we were like, mate, whatever you want. So I literally scrapped an album to be able to do the tour, and I was like, that's not important. Like there will be many, hopefully, opportunities to release albums. This is about Tom. Time is precious. Everything else needs to stop. So we did the tour, and he very much was driving it, and we were like, mate, whatever is comfortable. But even from the first time we saw him on tour, because he missed the first few dates because he was having treatment, when he arrived, it was quite a shock, because we were like, or even in the last like few weeks since we saw him, like he'd got kind of more poorly, and as the tour went on, it was becoming like quite clear that he was having a pretty tough time, but what was so nice is that he loved every minute of being on stage, and that brought him so much happiness. Looking at his face at the end of the show every night and just seeing that massive grin was so special. It was like, yeah, this is all worth it. For like, even for like those 3 minutes just to get him on stage. When he got taken into care towards the end of his life, we had the course, so we all went down just to stay with him, really, and just to be there for that last kind of 5 days or so. And it was a real privilege to be there. And you kind of see people in different lights. So like, I think that's where people can surprise people, and I'm sure people listening will completely relate to that, because it's in those moments of real sadness and real worry that people can excel and show the best sides of them. And just being there was, it was really special, and obviously to be there for his family as well. It was an absolute privilege to be able to spend that last bit of time with him.
Do you think you kind of learn anything maybe about yourself, or the way that you cope with things in dealing with the aftermath and trying to pick yourself back up when he did pass away?
Yeah, I struggle with emotion. I don't do emotion. I don't really kind of understand it. So it's a natural defense mechanism to kind of completely block out all emotion. I remember being very much like, right, okay, right, what he's doing, and that is a defense mechanism, or a lack of understanding of emotion, which I'm kind of at peace with now, I guess. But I learned that in that situation, I try and pick everyone else up. I'm going to do what they can't do. So I'll just be kind of skating around, kind of just picking up the jobs that I'm like, they don't want to do that. So I that's what I learned about myself, and kind of accepted that a little bit more. And I think I also learned that I grieve through writing. So that very much was my outlet. And when I got home, I remember I was just sat in the house, and I was like, okay, this is what now? So I was like, right, I'll go for a coffee. So I went out into town. There was a change in me being in public, because normally I'll get, oh, that's that guy that sang that song that so-and-so walked down the aisle to. Oh, lovely. Oh, that's that guy who sings Glad You Came. Fine. Kind of like very nice, and I know how to deal with that. And I'm like, oh, thank you, that's really kind. I'll have a chat and just be like, oh, that's lovely. What changed was that all stopped immediately. And it was, that's that guy who just lost his friend. And I was like, oh, I don't know how to deal with this. So I locked myself in the house, and I didn't leave the house for ages. And I was like, right, what am I going to do? And I was like, I need to go and write. And I went to the studio, and I was like, I need to write happy songs. And that's where the start of Ultraviolet kind of began. It's actually written when I was very much grieving.
Butterflies, it's got a very kind of intimate-y singer-songwriter style to it. I know that you've explored that in the past. Like you say, you've explored your kind of jazz and a bit more soulful side. You've done the pop stuff with the boys. However, what I always really love doing with artists is kind of giving that freedom to let them go, let's be a little bit kind of wacky for a minute. If there was any genre in the world completely out there that you'd think, do you know what, I might not be good at it, but I want to have a crack at it, what would you want to have a go at?
Classical.
Different. Really?
Yeah.
Is that kind of your vibe? Do you listen to classical in your free time?
I listen to things that are dramatic.
Yeah.
I was writing a song the other day, and I very, very much felt like Freddie Mercury a little bit, and because the producer was like, right, what are we doing now? And I went, now we go to the operatic section. And he went, what? And I went, trust me.
I'll tell you what we're going to do, Nathan. We're actually going to put your money where your mouth is. So if you're up for it, I'd like to play a little game that we call the remix.
Okay.
What I have got is a collection of your back catalogue. I have got 4 songs from yours from the Wanted's back catalogue, labelled A through D.
Okay.
You're going to pick one of these at random.
Yeah.
You're then going to pick a number between 1 and 4, which is a different musical style.
Great.
I mean, I'm looking at the list here. I've got everything from like drum and bass, R&B. I've got some rock in there. I didn't come up with classical, I'll be honest, but
I was going to say it's a proper curveball that I threw in. I'm not going to lie.
So, are you up for this? Can I ask you to pick a letter between A and D, first of all?
C.
C? Okay, I'm going to hand you envelope C. What song
Thank you.
are you going to be giving us a few bars from?
Kiss Me. Oh, God, I haven't warmed up.
Is it the obvious one?
Kiss Me Quick.
So, very big band style, very powerful vocals.
I really haven't
what we're
warmed
looking
up.
for.
I'm so sorry.
Well, I'll tell you what you need to do now. I need you, Nathan, to pick a number between 1 and 4 to determine the musical style we're going for here.
Let's go with number 1.
Are you absolutely certain?
No, that's made me nervous.
Are you No, I'm joking. Let's go with number 1. Let's see what you picked.
Oh, dear.
Get ready to say enter. You've picked old school UKG. Are you much of a garage head?
No.
No? Not your style?
Well,
Not a little 2-step, gun fingers in the air?
Yeah, but normally I don't remember it, so it's that's wow. Okay.
So the challenge, if you're up for it, we're talking quite fast. We're talking like 130 BPM.
Yeah.
We are talking. I can't believe I'm saying this. Nathan Sykes, could you give us a little over and over again, over the top of a UKG beat? Are you ready to give it a go?
So Kiss Me Quick over the top of this, yeah?
Let's do it.
Right.
Ready?
Oh, I feel like I need a minute to get it in my head. Ooh, I'm down. Nobody's looking right now. No time for messing around. It won't take a minute. Baby, come kiss me quick. Take time, feeling right here. Make this unforgettable, yeah. I think
Nathan Sykes, ladies and gents.
That was terrible. I'm so sorry.
Oh, Nate, that was big. Do you know what?
Awful.
I'm seeing it. I'm seeing a sweet female attitude and Nathan collab. Can we make that happen? Have you recovered from your musical
I'm
installation?
still sweating. But we're good.
Let's talk new music.
Yes.
What is different about 2025 Nathan Sykes compared to your kind of first go at solo endeavours?
Nathan 2025 knows exactly who he is now. Even like personally, like I really have a grounding of who I am, and I think I've really taken the time to not feel like I have to prove myself to everyone. If people like what I'm doing, great. If they don't, that's fine as well. Do you know what I mean? Like it's when we're not saving lives as musicians, we're trying to bring an emotional connection to people. We're trying to give people some light relief. Do you know what I mean? It's not that deep. I think the difference between Ultraviolet and the first album is that there feels like there's an intensity to the first album. This album, you like very much feel like you can chill out and listen to it. And even though like some of the songs are kind of more up tempo and more upbeat and happy, and it still feels like there's like a laid back feeling to it. And I think that's due to where I am kind of personally. I think that's the change.
Going through Butterflies, all I can kind of see is there's maybe a little bit of a Miles Smith about you. There's a little bit of a Lewis Capaldi edge to you, but it seems to be a real blend of lots of different kind of parts.
Yeah.
Was there anyone in particular that you look up to in music at the moment, or that you'd like to kind of do similar stuff to?
I think when I've been at labels previously, I've heard, oh, you need to be a little bit more like this person. Or why can't you be a little bit more like this person? I actually managed to stop and turn those voices off by kind of isolating myself as a writer and being like, right, what's natural to me? So instead of being like an impersonation of many different people, I've kind of got to a place where I can't really pinpoint where certain sounds come from. But it does feel very much unique to me. Track 1, Ultraviolet. Like, we were listening to Kendrick before we started making the track, and we were like, that big kind of sound, and there's a lot of brass at the start of that, and like that's the influence there. And then like on another track we were listening to Arctic Monkeys, and then, yeah, I'm really happy with how it's turned out.
And where can you see this album going? Here at BFBS, what we do, we often go out and put on shows for the military. We'll go all over. We'll take comedians to the Middle East. We took Sigma, the drum and bass boys, to Eastern Europe a couple of months ago. That was a good gig. For you, when it comes to going out and performing, is there anywhere kind of country-wise that's on the bucket list to travel to and go and do a set in?
Oh, Japan.
Yeah?
Yeah, Japan.
Have you ever been before?
No, I didn't get to go because I had just had vocal surgery. So I was on complete voice rest, and I'd messaged the guys, and I think we were like the first Western band since the Beatles or something like that to have a #1 in the singles chart and the album chart at the same time. So really hard to mess it up. I said to the guys, well, I texted them and I said, do not mess this up. I really want to go at some point. So inevitably they did. They went out and had a few too many and did breakfast TV, very, very, very disgustingly hungover.
Nice.
And we didn't get invited back, so I never got to go. So I was like, cheers, guys. That's just, yeah. So, yeah, Japan's definitely on the list for me.
Listen, I want to stick with the military world right now. If there is one thing that I know musicians and our military lot have in common, it's the fact that food is a big deal, right?
Yeah.
Musicians, whenever you go to a show, you've got a rider in advance. You've got like meals and snacks.
Yeah.
You know, little bits and bobs you ask to have ready for you. And in the military world, well, we've not got an equivalent of that. But when you're out in the field, you have a thing called a ration pack, right?
Yes.
You've got your food ready to go. Nath, I'm going to hand you this.
Amazing.
Because in front of you right now, you've got a sample menu, and I've checked it's the veggie option. Because I know you're vegan. That's the closest we could get. I would like you, Nathan Sykes, to come up with your rat pack rider, your ration pack rider. So, main meal, a snack, and a beverage that you'd be happy to have.
Well, vegetarian sausage and beans.
Oh, so you're going kind of all-day breakfast style?
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit of a fry-up?
Yeah, definitely. Flavoured drink powder sounds
vague, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's bit suspect, if I'm honest. The lime flavour energy drink.
Well, I'll tell you what, let's not just talk about it. I can't get you veggie sausages and beans. What I have done, however, is I've brought our lovely producer Lily into the studio with a ration pack, essentially a breakfast offering, a porridge, a ready-made oats thing. Can I interest you in giving it a little try?
Absolutely, I'd love to.
Do a little taste test.
This is very exciting.
Yeah. He doesn't look particularly impressed.
Okay.
But
can I put it on the side?
You absolutely can. You're not going to break anything.
I mean, it smells good.
It really does smell quite vanilla-y.
It really does.
Yeah?
This might be coming with me.
Go on, you got this. Stunned silence so far.
You know what? That's really nice.
Really?
Yeah, it's really nice.
Would you be interested in eating that on a regular basis?
Yeah, I'm going in for more.
Well, interestingly, there's a career where you can have this quite often. If you go get yourself signed up.
I wouldn't last 5 minutes.
No?
No! And, well, for a start, I'm mathematics, so I'd get thrown out. And secondly, I'm a scrawny, like, pathetic fitness excuse of a human being. And it's quite embarrassing. The highest levels of respect from a distance, because but this food, I'm all here for it.
Nathan Sykes, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been an honour.